it's like funny because I was like, it's probably not getting aired or streamed anyway. But I was like, if you're commentating, it has to be aired somewhere.
Well, they used to just like tape it, and then they would put it together for like package content. So when it in there live, I don't know. So I'll find out. I'll know for sure.
Maybe if you can, if you're able to give me a content somewhere, I'll be like, hey, can you record this and miss me off or something? I don't like the result. Are you going, Kenny?
It's yours?
Yeah.
I think so. I think I wait to get paid and double check them out.
We might just do
That's
it.
what I thought it was.
It's only $5. I
That's
might.
for those seats.
I might have to
close for $75.
Morning,
guys.
Morning, Diego.
I may have this. I just need to find out how many people like are out in the corner or like.
Do you know almost like that map? Do you walk in from the left side? Oh, according to that map? I want to go.
Everyone assumes the worst. Everyone's like so distrustful.
I do want to come. I'm just gonna up the
I've got
I don't even care for the rest of them. I just want to see you guys.
I just pulled out today.
You heard?
Does your phone?
No, I don't hear you. Mike's
They called me and they were like, hey, he was like, you injured? I was like, no, you're the only medium person who made it. I was like, okay, I think like 4 people made it. And he was like, alright, just get your blood work done. I was like, just Danny, like,
okay.
I was like, oh, you'll be told.
Mark, obviously, I know you had to kind of embrace the grind in that last one. Hard-fought victory for you. I guess what did you take out of that performance?
Last fight, it was a win. I love winning. I love growing, and that was a fight that really pushed me to grow. So, great fight.
Very nice. And I guess in the time since, family getting adjusted to being here now, right? Everybody's here in Arizona. I guess what is that taking up most of your time? Getting the family adjusted, or what's life like for you?
Life is good. I mean, we are living the American dream. We're living the ultimate fighting championship dream. I moved over with my family, wife, 2 kids. We are living down in Scottsdale, Phoenix. I'm surrounded with some of the best coaches in the game at Fight Ready. Have guys like Henry Cejudo to help and guide me in this process. So it's great. It's always a challenge moving from one country to another. The things that you probably take for granted, like credit score, having a bank account, insurance, healthcare insurance. I mean, so many things that I had to dive into, but we're settled, and it's great. I mean, it's cloudy today in Vegas, but it's usually always sunny in Paradise Valley down in in Arizona, which is kind of a shift from the weather I'm used to in Denmark.
A little chilly up there. Well, obviously, you were supposed to fight Drakar Klose here. He'd been calling you out pretty steadily. I guess, were you excited for that matchup? Were you excited to maybe get in there and have that fight before it fell apart?
I'm still excited to fight Drakar Klose. I can't wait to get in there and punch my right hand through his face. He called me out early. He's been going at it on social media. Even told me to meet him at Mayo Clinic. I actually went there. He was supposed to have a surgery. I asked at the front desk. Nobody heard about Drakar. Nobody seen him. He wasn't on any manifest, on any list. So I don't know what's going on with Drakkar. I know he pulled out, but let me send the message out right here. I'm ready to fight Drakkar close anytime. And if it's a case of him not being injured as severely as some people say, I mean, I'm ready to go tomorrow.
You were going to fight this man at a hospital?
I was going to fight Drakkar close anywhere he wanted to, even at a hospital.
All right. Well, instead, you get Grant Dawson instead. I guess, a short, change.
Let me go over the game plan. Kick the crutches, punch him in the face. I mean, I don't know if Mayo Clinic is paying for that, but anywhere you wanted it.
I think we should just keep talking about this. But we'll talk about Grant Dawson, I guess. What do you think about him as opponent? Have you had much of a chance to really break him down? Obviously a short notice fight here.
Short notice fight. I mean, so far, great matchup. I mean, undefeated versus undefeated in the UFC. There's always a nice ring to that. Grant is, he's been dominating with his wrestling, with his grappling. He has some amazing skills in the areas where I also have amazing skills. So I'm excited. It's a great matchup, and this is really a fight that will put me towards the top 15, the big fights, and going in there, putting a clinic on Grant Dawson, getting a dominant win, and really putting him away is going to put me on the map.
So what if the UFC comes to you and they say, look, we can give you a top 10 guy or we can give you Drakkar close? What do you do?
Listen, I can beat Drakkar close on a Friday and then fight Saturday, so I'll probably get around that. I don't know how long Drakkar is going to be out, but as I told you guys, I'll fight him anywhere he wants it.
Last thing for me, knowing this should kind of catapult you into the rankings or at least a ranked opponent. Is a decision enough here? Is just a win enough here? Do you feel like you got to do something to really make a statement, or is it just get the victory and move forward?
I'm going to go out there and put a clinic on Grant Dawson. I mean, he was very eager getting this fight, as I've heard. So, and I also did my research. I know he was a part of Mateusz Gamrod's fight camp. I know he's been putting in the work. I know he feels ready, but I'm going to go out there. I'm going to drag him to a place he hasn't been before. And I am going to finish Grant Dawson this Saturday.
Hey, Mark. This is your second fight this year. How does it feel to be active again? This is the first time you fought twice in the UFC in your UFC career. So how does that feel?
Feels amazing having two fights in 1 year. On the one hand, on the other hand, I've been ready since May. Honestly, I've been ready since May. I've been calling guys out. I've been telling my manager I'm ready, and I'm ready to go.
It feels like your name isn't being talked about a bunch. You being an Olympian, undefeated. Is it just because you feel like you haven't been active, so your name's just not out there enough?
Honestly, I don't care if people talk about my name or not. I do think it has something to do with the Danish culture, which is based on being very polite, being very humble, which is not a thing that is gaining attraction in the UFC. So I moved over. I have great guys around me. I actually went up to Portland and visited Chael Sonnen. I sat down with Chael Sonnen and Henry Cejudo, small round table. Had a great talk, with two amazing people in this sport, and gained some insights. So let's see.
So are we expecting you to be a trash talker from now on, or is the Danish culture just will not let you do that?
If I do too much trash talking, I'll probably be hanged on the square when I get back home to Denmark. So no, I think the lesson I took with me from the visit in Portland was actually turn up your own personality. So I do come from a great nation of Vikings. I don't know if we need to bring that into play. the whole Valhalla and what are they called, Loki and stuff. But the Danes can have fun too.
Thank you.
When you're sitting around a table with Chael Sonnen and Henry Cejudo, just how few words do you get to say throughout that dinner?
Very few.
I think so.
And I think that's the whole point. Learning, listening, and I have to be honest, sitting there listening to Chael Sonnen with my English, I think it's pretty good, but still the pace and all the things coming out that I was supposed to take notes of, it was just an incredible pace. And I truly believe him when he says, I have a different skill set, because Chael Sonnen is amazing when it comes to explaining himself.
Undefeated and undisputed.
Undefeated, undisputed, and one of the greatest to ever do it.
Just one for me. You gave your opponent credit. You said he was a decent wrestler. You said he had good wrestling. But for somebody on the outside, if they were looking at this fight and they say, okay, these are two guys, both of them are good at wrestling. Explain the difference of your level of wrestling and your opponent's level of wrestling.
I'm going to show the difference on Saturday. I'm going to show the difference in wrestling. I'm also going to show the difference in grappling. Keep in mind, I'm a white belt. Grant Dawson is a brown belt. Imagine coming into a gym, you're wearing your gi, your black belt, and then you have an Olympic wrestler opposed to you. He's a white belt. I mean, you're probably not going to feel like a black belt when you go in there. So I'm going to show the difference on Saturday.
Awesome. Best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
For the record, the training paid off with the Chael and Cejudo. This was good today. This was good.
Drakkar, I'm coming for you. Where you at? I don't care if you're hiding at Mayo Clinic. I'm going to find you. I'm going to kick the crutches. I'm going to take your life. Chael, help me out here.
What's going on, everybody?
Flyweight fight week?
Yes, sir.
How's it?
First one.
How's that one compared to bantamweight and featherweight?
It's a lot different. I'm not going to lie to you, but I'm excited about it.
How difficult has the process been of making your way down? I guess you still got a little ways to go, but up to this point, how difficult has it been?
The hard part's fixing to come tomorrow. But as far as dieting, I'm lower than I've ever been. Everything's went real smooth. I've been working with Nicole at the PI here, and I'm ready to make it, and I'm going to make it.
What prompted that decision, right? Because, I mean, you're 3-1 at the point. I mean, the decision lost to a guy that's ranked and very talented. So what prompted you to say, this is the move I need to make?
I've just been getting smaller. I know the weight cuts are supposed to get harder, but I've been smaller, getting into the cage every single fight since I've been in the UFC. I don't know if that's harder training or better diet, but I was the smallest I'd ever been against Umar, and everybody's cutting weight, and I think I just need to do this and, even out the playing field a little bit.
Has there been any part where you're like, this was a terrible idea, or does it feel like does it feel like it's still the right choice?
No, I started a little early, but I wasn't sure how my body would react to it. I know now, about when to start my diet and when to cut the calories and things like that. But it's all a learning experience. I feel good. I'm be ready.
Nice. And listen, I mean, you're a new weight class, but you're fighting another ranked opponent, right? I mean, just getting your feet wet here, right? I guess what did you think when this was the matchup given to you?
Oh, I'm excited about it, and I get another shot at Team Khabib. So my last performance wasn't the best, so I got to get that one back. And I want to be ranked. I think I'm going to make a splash in this division. I think I'm big for the division. I'm happy it's Tagir. He was number 15 when we signed the bout, so I'm excited about it.
Does it feel like a little bit of a revenge opportunity? I mean, it's a different opponent, but same team.
All those guys were super nice to me, man. I wouldn't say revenge, but I definitely just want to have a better and stronger performance and get some respect back.
Very nice. I guess then overall, and last thing for me, the goal here, I mean, is it obviously you want to win every time out there, right? But is it something about just going out there and feeling, how it feels at flyweight and knowing how your body reacts? I mean, is that a big part of this, or is it just all about, no, we got to go win?
It's always about the win, but definitely coming off my last fight, I'm a lot more interested in having a great performance. I need to come out and actually fight my fight and be relaxed in there, and I think that's really important to me.
And Nate, suffered your first loss in the UFC. What were the emotions like after that fight?
Oh, man, it was tough. I just sat on the couch, didn't go anywhere, didn't do anything, really wasn't even interested in food, and, that's not right for us guys. So it was different, but it's a learning experience. Umar taught me some things in there that I'm going to show Saturday.
When did you get over the loss? Like, did it take a couple days, couple weeks? Like, did it take until you got another fight book? Like, what was that?
It'll be Saturday night. That's when I'll be over it. It kills me, man. None of us like to lose, but definitely got to get that one back.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello. So solid win last time out, good result against a good opponent. I guess, kind of what lessons did you take out of that, or what did you think of your performance?
First of all, I'd like to start out with, this is very unpolished. I have not considered doing any interviews. I didn't even know I was on the main card until very recently, so I apologize in advance. What did I take out of my last fight, you're saying?
Yeah.
I went into the last fight thinking that it was the possibility of being the last fight of my contract, and something was like, it felt very freeing, where I just didn't care that much. Like, obviously I want to win, I want to be successful. Saturday I want to go out there and be successful. But I just realized that, like, if I put too much pressure or too much, if I worry about the end result too much, that it's too much. It's like I can't perform, and when like part of me doesn't really care, like, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna do my best, and I can be free of that pressure of I have to win, I have to do this. It's just I'm just such a better athlete.
So you got a new UFC contract in place, but have you been able to replicate that feeling of being able to let go a little bit?
Yeah, since I learned that, like, I did a lot of self-affirmations through this and reminded myself of what helps me perform, and that's a big one there. Just like an example, my coach and I did a drill where I was against the wall and he threw a ball at me 50 times, and he maybe hit me like, I don't know, maybe 3 times. And then he said, I'm going to do 10 more. And if I hit you, you got to do 10 burpees. Now, I don't like working out at all. So knowing that I had to do 10 burpees every one, it put up those pressure. You know what I mean? Like, I have to do this because I don't want to do these. I don't want to work out. And he hit me 4 out of 10 times. That's just an example of like how my brain works. You know what I mean? It's like, if I put too much pressure on the end result, you know what I mean? And then the way I reacted to the ball coming was completely different. Like, and that's kind of like a fight too. Like, I'll go into a fight and like, oh, I have to win. And then in my mind, I'm like, I have to fight like this because this is the right way to fight and this is the best way and all this. And like, instead of just not caring, I'm going to go out and do what I do every night when I go to the gym, and whatever happens. I've always went out there, given my all. I've never quit. You know what I mean? So it's not like I don't care and I'm going to go out there and quit. No, that's not how it's going to be at all. I've never quit. That's just not part of me. And so yeah, I'm not worried about that. I just want to go out there and put on a good show.
Nice. So as a guy that doesn't like to work out, how do you decide I'm going to be a professional athlete?
That's a good question. I like the strategy behind it. I wish we could all just agree that we weren't going to work out. We were just going to fight on this night with what we have. But everybody works out, a bunch of cheaters.
I would support that league, by the way.
Yeah. Shorter rounds. Let's go for a minute. No, I have learned to appreciate working out, and my coaches have made working out fun for me too. Like, we'll do things that, like, if I just sit on a bike and just do bike sprints, like, I just can't. I don't know if it's my ADHD or whatever, but I just like have such a hard time doing that. So I've done cardio in a lot of different ways, a lot of different circuits and stuff to really hit my anaerobic and work my my anaerobic too. Anaerobic's a big one too, because I want to be on a bike for 10 minutes. So I have gotten, and another thing is, like, I've really seen a big difference in my training, my conditioning and all that, like, as far as like how I'm performing. So like, seeing that gives me a little more motivation to go out there. And just burpees really suck though. It's just that burpees aren't enjoyable at all.
All right, so you're fighting Chase Sherman. I guess what'd you think about the matchup? Seems like one that you're expecting excitement out of.
Yeah, it's I got that 50K bonus, and now I'm just like, I gotta get it, So it's a fight that I wanted, and it was funny because I would talked about the fight. I'm like, man, that would be a really good fight because he throws, I throw. It would be I think that would be a fight that could get possibly both of us a 50K bonus. But I had not said anything to my manager or anything like that, and then I was offered Chase on, I think it was like 8 or 9 days notice, and I'm like, like, I haven't really been doing a lot, but I do want that fight. And it's funny you say that because that's a fight I was actually going to ask for. And then Mick said, well, because we're booked into December, I can't really schedule anything. I can't make any promises or anything like that. And then it was like maybe a month. No. It it was maybe 6 or 7 weeks later, I started doing mini camps like a strength, power, speed, just like little mini camps before I even got into this camp, just in case I had to take something last minute because they were booked so far out. And then I got offered that with 11 weeks. I'm like, oh my God, I got 11 weeks to get ready. That's awesome. I'm going to fight that I wanted. And then they waited to renegotiate my contract until I got that fight. So that was cool too.
Last thing for me, I guess, now with this new contract in hand, I mean, I guess is the goal consistency? I mean, you've had this kind of win-loss. Is it consistency with wins, or is it just have fun, go out and maybe get some more $50,000 bonuses? Like, what's the goal with this new deal?
My goal is really I think having the goal of just go out there and have fun will give me more wins. You know what I mean? If I'm sitting there like, oh, I got to win, I got to get in a streak, I got to do this, like that's putting an end result, pressure on the end result. But I don't care about that. I just want to go out there, and that my last fight, I'm like, I don't really care. You know what I mean? I'm going to go out there and give my all, and I was able to perform one of the best performances I've had because I was able to be me essentially. And I think me is a good fighter. Me trying to be somebody else the cookie cutter, which a lot of people believe is a good fighter, maybe sometimes I think is supposed to be what people want to see, is not a good fighter because I don't do that every day.
Hey, Josh. Where was your Wild Things costume?
Where was it?
Yeah.
Where was mine?
Yeah,
man, it was. We kind of went back and forth on the costume for her because the first year she was born on May 4th, so she was Star Wars baby, so she was little baby Yoda, and then her name was Eva. The next year we made her. What was it? Who's the motorcycle guy that did all the Eva Knievel? We made her. And then this year we're like, I don't know, should we we were going to do Eva Las Vegas with like a Vegas theme in the back, but then we're like, well, it's kind of getting the age where like I don't want to force her to wear a costume she doesn't want to wear. And then it was going to be cold out, possibly rainy, so like, man, what a perfect costume. Like she'd be warm, and then she really liked it, and she likes to run up to people and go, rawr, so it worked out.
I was waiting for your big Wild Things costume.
Oh, where's mine? Oh, because it was last minute. It's funny, I looked on Google to try to figure out like how I could make it, but I'm like, that's a lot of effort in a very short time.
What'd you do with your $50K bonus?
I actually bought. It's not a brand new truck, but it only had 25,000 miles on it. I bought a new truck because it's funny because I had a 2010 F-150, and right before I got my fight to fight Chad Johnson on the last Contender Series to get signed, I got that truck repossessed, and that was like a sad moment for me too. And like my girlfriend's parents were over. They're at her house like 3 times a year, and they happened to be there while people came and repoed my truck. You know what I mean? That was super embarrassing. And then she gave me her vehicle, which was like, I mean, it ran, but it's not, it's rust bucket, and the power steering went out randomly, so it wasn't. I couldn't even put Eva in it because it's just dangerous. When's power steering should go out randomly, and I don't want that. So, what was I going with that? Oh, so when I got that bonus, I'm like, man, I get a vehicle that's safe for my daughter, and then I bought an F-150 just like the one that got repoed, the exact same color, and I felt so good to just like, I paid $40,000 for it, and I'm like, you can't take this one from me. I bought it in cash. This is mine. You know what I mean? No, I don't have to worry about ever losing it, which is like a good feeling.
Awesome. Congrats on that, man.
Thank you.
You've spoken about pre-fight nerves a lot in your fight career, man. What are they like this fight camp? Now that it's not so much stress on your shoulders from maybe you'll get cut if you lose. Like what are they like this fight camp?
I would say they're consistent with the last fight that I had. They were not super bad. Yeah, no, I feel man, the nerves that I had for that Don'Tale Mayes fight was like, they were just so tremendous. They're like, anything that's not that is just a relief. I just was broken before I went into that fight. And at this point, I'm actually hoping for a little more nerves, because nerves make me perform, even though it's like, oh, it's uncomfortable and you get nauseous and you don't like it. But like, I know that I'll perform better when I have a little bit of nerves. So hopefully when it gets closer, I'll get those.
And finally for me, what do you think of House of Dragons?
I thought I had a slow start, but it ended really strong. But I also felt that, did you finish it? I'm not giving you spoilers, anybody who's going to watch it here or whatever. It didn't have a Game of Thrones ending, like the Red Wedding or whatever, but I thought it was still good. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Good questions too. I hate when people ask the same questions. Nobody ever asks those questions.
How's this training camp been?
If that's a serious question, it's actually been really good. Okay.
I am curious though, if you hate working out and you're a professional athlete, how many times have you regretted becoming a professional athlete? Is it every workout or once a week?
I go back and forth on it because like I can play WoW so much with not having a job, which is really cool. I play lots of video games, but then when I have to work out, I'm like, oh, this is kind of. I kind of go back and forth. And then like, I just, like getting hit in the head and stuff like that. I'm always like worried about that. I'm like, man, am I gonna, have issues with that later in life or whatever? So that's always like a worry. And one thing like Dana White said recently, he said, this is not a career, it's an opportunity. That actually, I think pissed a lot of people off, you know what I mean? But actually was, man, it's so relieving to me because I'm like, you're right. Like this is not my life. I'm not going to do this forever. If I don't have this, I'm not going to be able to feed my kid and all that stuff. It's like, no, this is in the moment. I'm going to make the most of this opportunity. If I make a bunch of money, that's awesome. But no matter what, like what I've gained through martial arts and fighting, I'll be able to take that in any career, any path that I choose to do, and I'll do great. And then I know that I'll have opportunity to provide and whatever I need to do. All right, thanks guys.
Hello, everybody. I'm back up in here. What's that? Hey, me, what's up?
It's been a pretty hectic couple of months for you, right? A lot going on. What's life been like for you with the crazy 279, and then you got to reschedule fights and all that? What's it been like for you?
Man, it feels great. It feels good to be back. You know, I had these injuries for a little while, and now I'm back doing what I do, the way I do it.
You had an infection? Is that what happened?
Oh, yeah. About a couple weeks ago, I had a staph infection in my elbow. I had like a little cut on my elbow from the last fight. I jumped right back into camp and facing Magny, I jumped back on the wrestling mats and got a little infection on my elbow. Cleared up a couple days, but we had to push the fight. I had to they had to take me off the card, and good thing Magny was down to fight. Push it back a couple weeks.
Was there any thought of pushing back further, or was it a couple weeks? I mean, did everything clear up enough time? Has it impacted your preparation?
Not really. It kind of gave me like a little break, actually, because I was like just jumped right back into camp, and I was in the process of moving like back to California, and that happened, and I want to go see the people that I needed to see to decide whether or not I'd be able to fight, and they were like, nah, man, this looked pretty bad. It was like actually really bad. I never had an infection like that or anything like that. So, I asked, I was like, man, see if he'll like, he's down to fight in a couple weeks. I'm down to clear up. And everybody's like, I don't know, man, these antibiotics are going to mess you up. And, I kept grinding. I started running a lot, tried to stay away from anybody and just worked on my cardio because I had a feeling. I was like, man, all right, this fight didn't happen. I just gotta stay ready and just be on call for whenever they need me.
Yeah. Was there any talk of taking time off at all anyway after that? I mean, you were trying to fight again like a month later after your last fight.
Yeah. I really want to fight Kevin Holland. That's what I was looking forward. I'm looking forward to fighting him sometime in the future. I'm down to fight him next. Winner of him versus Wonderboy, whatever. We could do it. He just got to. I'm waiting for him. But on top of that, I'm just gonna stay training and it's go time for me. I'm in my prime and I keep taking short notice fights, and I want to be known in the UFC as that guy, and they could rely on me to be ready.
Nice. I guess you wanted to keep the Magny fight together. You were hoping he would wait. I mean, was this opponent like you really wanted?
It's another fight. It's a top guy. It's right in the ranks where I'm at, and it's a good matchup. I feel like taking out a guy like Magny will definitely put me in a really, really good spot as far as fighting, the next tier of opponents and possibly main events.
Nice. What do you think in preparing for him, as an opponent? You say he's good. He's not like one of the scariest guys in the division, right? But I mean, he'll grind you, and he's a true veteran.
He's a well-rounded fighter. He's a true vet. He's got the most wins in the division. He's got all the experience. He's not really a finisher, and he's known to grind out, have grueling fights, and he pushes the pace. And in preparation for him, I just worked pretty much what I've been working on my whole career. With me being a striker, a really good striker, and that's takedown defense and working off the cage and getting off the cage, and as well as my cardio. My cardio is great, and I feel ready. I feel great.
Nice. Last thing for me, I mean, you win here, top 10 matchup next, or I mean, is Kevin Holland got to be the fight, or what's the play? It
doesn't matter, man. If he just so happens to be a guy, or they're like, hey, you want to fight this guy in fucking 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Yeah, I'll be like, all right, cool. But if they offer me someone else, like anybody else, I'm gonna say yes, whether it's ranked or not. I mean, I'm here to fight.
Daniel, as that whole situation was playing out with Kevin Holland and Hamzat and everything, was it just very frustrating that you saw that fight sort of getting away from you? Because I know you wanted to fight Kevin, and eventually you ended up sort of losing out.
I was a little disappointed in Kevin at the time. I'm like, yo, what are you doing, bro? Like, I'm the guy. I'm the fucking person you got to be worried about right now. Like, why are you trying to fight this dude? And, causing a big old scene, and it left me for a little while like, man, am I even going to fight? Because he had messaged me that morning, like, hey, man, they want me to fight fucking Kamzat, this and that. I'm like, all right, so, like, what about me, And then Tony ended up getting matched up with, so the real thing was left on my part was like, damn, am I even gonna fight? Because it was up to Lee to accept the fight, because I was 9 pounds heavier, 8 pounds heavier, whatever, And yeah, he accepted it, so that was cool. It worked out.
Yeah. But for a second there, it was like, God damn it.
Yeah, yeah. And even at the hotel, we get back to the hotel, and they're fighting in the restaurant. And I'm like, bro, what the fuck, bro? Like, go upstairs. Yeah.
So is that part of the reason why you won that fight? Not necessarily like so badly, but it's like, hey, we had that scheduled. I had you the day before, and then you kind of threw it away. So we want to get that done.
Yeah, this is my second time being matched up with him, and some bullshit happens. You know, on top of that, it's a great matchup. It's my kind of fight. I know he wants to fight me because, you know, I'm a stand-up fighter. He's a stand-up fighter. The fans want to see it. That's one of the main reasons I feel like, you know, I'm still getting asked, like, yo, are you ever going to fight Holland? Like, I feel like he's a dude that I have to fight, and he's like a chapter in my career that I just have to know what the fuck is going to happen or what would have happened. You know, and we're fighters. I'm going to fight all these dudes, you know, so if at some point I'd like to fight him, yeah.
When you saw his fight with Hamzat, were you kind of like, see, you should have fought me?
Hey, man, that's why after I was like, man, I don't even know if it's my interest to fight this guy after that, you know, but styles make fights, and you know, I want to make money, so.
Last one for me. How do you see his fight with Wonderboy going?
That's an interesting matchup, man. They're both, you know, one's a kung fu guy, the other guy's a karate guy. Definitely want to see what'll happen there, you know.
Hey, Daniel, did you see that you were one of the reasons why Kevin Holland retired for a little bit?
I did see that he retired, and I was like, oh, man. And I didn't know it was because of me, though.
Yeah, so supposedly he wanted the Neil Magny fight, and when you got matched up with him, he got kind of angry, and that's one of the reasons why he retired.
He started crying. He was like, oh, man, I'm fucking going to retire. Don't worry, you'll get your chance.
Also, did you see all of the, I don't know, the sadness of Li Jingliang? Like, he got this suit, but he didn't get to wear it, and then like a few weeks later he wore the suit again and didn't get to wear it. Like,
man, she's having bad luck, I guess, man. It's like he ain't getting no love these days. So yeah, I got a little bit of love for you, Jing. If you want that rematch, I got you, dog. Stop crying.
And finally, for me, with the UFC getting back on the road, would you rather fight in Los Angeles or would you like to fight in Mexico?
I've always said this. My dream venue to fight at would be Staples Center, bro. I've already fought at the Forum, but it's always going to be Staples Center to me. I've been to boxing fights, basketball shows, and for me, that'd be like the ultimate for me, you know, to fight in my hometown.
Thank you.
Nice. All right, y'all. Thank you.
You know, obviously we saw you earlier this summer. I mean, frustrating one, but I mean, are there still lessons to be taken at this point in your career? I mean, do you still learn from fights, or you just go, that happens?
Yeah, man. Surprisingly, there's still a lot to learn in this game, and the last fight was definitely one of those lessons. I mean, for me, the biggest thing is just like getting complacent. Like, and it's not even like getting complacent to the point that I'm just like not going to the gym or I'm not like putting in the work that I need to put in. But for more so, it's like the number of distractions that I have around me at this point. I mean, it was almost easier being 24, 25 in UFC, where literally all I had to do was take care of my dog and go to the gym, and I can spend 8 hours a day there, and there was nothing else to prioritize outside of that. But now, like, being in a position where like I have a business outside of fighting, I have real estate outside of fighting, I have 2 kids to worry about, I have a marriage to worry about. It's like all these different things that like aren't necessarily negatives, but they're at the end of the day, they end up being distractions, especially in the training camp. Just learning how to kind of prioritize those things and still be present at the same time is the difficulty. And my last fight definitely put me in a position to kind of start figuring that thing out a lot more.
Yeah, you kind of have to be selfish to be successful in this thing, right? I mean, were you able to find a little bit more balance this time around?
Yeah, for sure. It's like, to give you guys a little bit of insight, like my last fight, for example, my wife was expecting our child to be born the week of my fight. So for me, it was like his due date was going to be June 21st. My fight was scheduled for June 25th. So in my mind, I was like, okay, cool. I can handle that. It's not a big deal at all. I'll be present when he's born. Like, all right, son, I'll see you in a couple days. Dad has a job to do. I'll be back. But at the same time, I also was like working on 2 of my investment properties where I had 2 complete renovations going on top of a training camp and expecting a newborn. At the end of all that, my son ended up being born 6 weeks premature. Fortunately, he didn't have any like significant like health issues or anything like that. He spent 2 weeks in the NICU, and he was able to come home and had no like significant issues at all. But it ended up being like hard to balance it all. But like, I'm not a guy to shy away from difficult situations or adversity. I was like, okay, cool, I got it. Sorry about that. I can figure it out. I can handle this all. Like, it's not a big deal at all. But the reality of it is, there's no way I can like effectively be a present father, be a present husband, be present in training camp, and be present on 2 separate renovations and get those things all done well. I can do them okay. I can do them average, but find the best guys in the world that can't afford to go in there with the idea of like, okay, cool, I had an okay training camp. I had an okay fight week. I need to make sure that like the training is impeccable. Like, there's no flaws, no holes in it. I make sure I check every box that I need to, and I'm going in there getting the job done.
Very nice. So you had to change the schedule around a little bit. Did that affect you or impact you in any way, having to delay the fight a few weeks?
No, I mean, in reality, like getting the notice that the fight got pushed back actually worked in my favor, where I had a teammate who was literally going through a lot of different issues, and unfortunately back in August he ended up losing his brother, and he was something that he was really struggling with mentally for a while, and my fight getting pushed back in the timing that it did, it kind of allowed me to kind of have a conversation with my coach, like, all right, cool, the fight's getting pushed back 3 weeks, what do you guys want me to do? Especially that the notice came in the week of the fight. Like, I was literally like Monday already water loaded, getting ready to go fight. He's like, hey, your fight is postponed, hang on a second. Like, all right, that's a bummer. So putting together a plan with the coaches where they're like, all right, we're going to make this a rest week. We're going to force you to kind of like not be in the gym and overdo it so you can peak at the right time or whatever. It kind of like freed me out to be able to be there for my teammate. And ultimately, I feel like that was the best place I could have been that night. I mean, he and I were scheduled to fight a day apart, and I know he was in a position where he definitely needed a friend to be there for him. So for me, it was a blessing in disguise. I was literally like excited when the fight got pushed back. I was like, oh wait, really? I'm not fighting until November. I immediately just like jumped on the phone while I was on the United app rebooking my flight to go to his fight. So it worked out great.
That's awesome. What do you think about the matchup? What does Daniel? I mean, you've seen everything, I guess, at this point in your career. But what does Daniel present to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great match. I'm definitely excited for it. I mean, Daniel's definitely a talented dude. I mean, to make it this far in UFC with the record he has, you definitely don't get here by being a slouch. So I definitely realize that it's a huge test in front of me going out here fighting Marina Rodriguez. But I'm excited for it. I mean, I feel like I have a lot to prove coming off my last fight, and I feel like he's in a position where he wants to do the same as well with the naysayers around his last fight. I mean, myself included, I was one of the guys that doubted him, so I could definitely feel like that'll be some motivation for him to come out guns blazing to prove a point. And for me, that's the kind of fight that excites me. I know I can't go in there and kind of like coast or take it easy because there's a guy coming in there trying to knock my head off. So I got to go out there and do it first.
Nice. Last thing for me, I just wanted to ask you. I think 10 years since The Ultimate Fighter, man, and I just wondered, can you put yourself back in position at that point in your career? I mean, did you think I'll be competing at the highest level of the sport in the UFC for the next decade? When you're on The Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, man, it's like crazy to look back and see how long it's been that I've been here for now, especially like with the way that my UFC career started. I didn't win The Ultimate Fighter, and my UFC career started going 1-2 that first year, and I was like literally in a point like, all right, maybe this is as far as I've come at this sport. I literally remember walking into training one day, and I'm like, man, dude, I'm probably about to get cut. I lost 2 fights in a row. I haven't heard from UFC in a while. Like, it might be it. And Donald Cerrone at the time was just like, why don't you just email UFC now and get the train? There's nothing you can do about it anyway. So you email them now, ask for a fight. They give it to you, great. They cut you, great. But there's no point of sitting around bitching about it right now because it's not going to change anything. So I was like, all right, you know what? You're right. Screw it. Here we go. Let's see what happens. And I sent the email, set my phone down, went ahead and trained. And after training, I had a fight in my email for a couple weeks later, and I was like, all right, cool, absolutely, I'll do it. And that fight started a 7-fight win streak for me in the UFC, and it kind of like catapulted my career to where it is now. So I'm definitely grateful that I stuck with it, and I didn't make that decision to kind of hang it up and move on, so to speak. So I'm definitely fortunate to be here 10 years later. Cool. Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Grant, obviously stepping in here on short notice, I guess. What was the process to get you booked in this fight?
This isn't short notice. I was scheduled to fight on November 5th about 10 weeks ago, so I've been in camp for 8 weeks. I went through 6 different opponents, and it really looked like I wasn't gonna get to fight. And then Jakar backing out, I can't talk today, it just kind of all fell together really good. I've watched Mark for a long time. I knew the opponent. I liked the matchup, and it all came into place. You know, he's got just as much time to prepare for me as I had to prepare for him.
Yeah. How difficult was that process, just to keep your focus or to keep the mindset right when that's constantly changing?
Man, it was awful. It was awful. And everybody that they offered me were complete polar opposites of each other. The nice thing was the last guy before Mark that I thought I was fighting was a very good wrestler. So I was getting ready for that kind of style. He's more of a folk style wrestler. Mark's a Greco style wrestler. So it is different, but at least I was in the grappling department and everything. But I'm in shape. I'm ready to go. I've had a full camp. If he wins, it's not because of a bad camp or a bad cut. This is going to be just like normal.
Nice. Have you been following Mark's work, and is it somebody that you thought you would pair up with at some point?
Yeah, I've watched him fight for a long time. I watched from his debut on. I'm a fan of the sport, man. I was watching him when I was still a 145er. Not so much because I thought I was going to fight him any day, but just because I love the sport and I love watching. So I knew exactly who he was as soon as they said his name. It's definitely a tough fight, super, super difficult fight, but I think the winner of this fight gets ranked. So that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Is it a fight that you kind of have to go in the mindset it's probably going 15 minutes? I mean, it seems like he has a lot of real grinding type fights.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially at this level, you got to just assume that you're going to be fighting for 15 minutes or more. Everybody's so good. The last guy I fought was really good. The guy I fought before that was really good. Like, they're all so good, and they're just going to keep getting better as I get better. So I'm definitely ready for a 15-minute war. If I can get him out of there sooner, that'd be great, but I'm not holding my breath.
Is that really you're getting married soon?
Yeah, I get married 15 days after the fight, so yeah.
So is the fiance giving you like, hey, don't come out of there with a black eye, you know what I mean? You gotta be ready for these pictures.
Well, she actually loved the matchup because she was like, if he beats you, it's probably just because he took you down and laid on you the whole time. I'm kidding, but no. We really wanted to fight sooner, and just with the opponents and just things, it got moved back. I told the UFC I have to fight before my wedding, and they were like literally the week before your wedding, and it looked like it was that or not fighting again this year, so I said yes. So we're ready to go, and 2 weeks is enough time. Even if he cuts me up or bruises me up, 2 weeks is enough time to look pretty.
Nice. Last thing for you, I think you kind of touched on it, but a win here. I mean, this seems like maybe one of the best matchups you could make outside of the rankings, right? I mean, with you two guys. So do you feel like, this win should catapult you into the rankings, or at least face a ranked opponent next?
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. The winner of this fight gets ranked on Monday, 100%, in my opinion. This is one of the best matchups because it's not grappler versus grappler or striker versus striker. This is competitor versus competitor. Lifelong competitor at the highest level competing against a lifelong competitor at the highest level. So whoever wins this fight, it's not going to be about who's the better wrestler, who's the better this, or who's the better that. It's going to be who is the better competitor. And that's what I'm excited about.
Hey, Grant, second fight at American Top Team. How's that been? Do you feel part of the team?
Yeah, absolutely, man. They welcomed me in day one, and I felt like I've clicked with all of the coaches. I feel like everything's going great. I got my boy Thiago Moises here, as always. I could not be happier with my team, and I could not be happier with the camp that we put together. A little bit more time maybe with the name would have been nice, but I'm in shape. I've been training. I'm ready to go.
Still, looking back at it, is this the best move you could have made for your career?
Yes.
And then how are you adapting to Florida?
Dude, I love Florida, man. I hate the cold. I absolutely hate the cold. I like snow for like a week, and then I'm over it. And it snows like 362 days of the year back in Missouri. So I'm not missing snow at all. I was tanning outside before I came, not here, but like came to Vegas. I love Florida. Florida's great.
With you trying to get a fight, and that you said the 6 people that turned you down, like, how is the matchmaking for you? Like, were you looking for a high-ranked opponent, or was it at this point like, I'll fight whoever?
It went through stages. At first, it was like, hey, top 15 or bust. You know, I'm taking top 15. And then it was like, okay, well, anybody right outside the top 15. And then it came to the point where I was like, hey, just sign somebody to fight me. Like, I'll go find somebody to fight me off the streets. Like, I gotta fight, you know? But other than an actual top 15 opponent, I think this is the best year. He's undefeated. He's looked incredible in his UFC run. So I definitely think that a win over him gets me ranked.
What were your thoughts on the 2 big lightweight fights from UFC 280, Islam versus Charles and Gamrot versus Benil?
Islam looked good, man. I don't know how you can knock a performance like that. He looked absolutely incredible, and I think this is good. I think anytime that you have a champion that is looking that dominant, it forces everybody else in the division to rise to the occasion. You know, like GSP, Demetrius Johnson, like all of these guys really force their weight classes to rise to the occasion to become better. So this is good for us. This is a good thing for us as a sport. And as for my boy Gamrot, you know, he couldn't get it done. I thought he looked a little off, you know, maybe the travel something, but he looked great in the room. He looked great preparing. I don't think he has any excuses, and I know he's going to come back even stronger.
Who do you think should fight for that title?
Volkanovski. I think that when you're a champion, you jump the line. He wants the fight. I think they should give him the fight. If Volkanovski isn't an option, I think Beneil Dariush is the next most logical, in my opinion. I think he's there. You know, he's right there. Big, long win streak over good guys. Fight anybody, anytime, anywhere, and he's beating them. So I think that's what makes sense if it's not Volkanovski.
And then next week, your teammate Dustin Poirier is fighting against Michael Chandler. How do you see that fight going down?
It's going to be a war. Definitely. I don't think it's going 15 minutes for sure, but I got to go with my boy. I think DP is going to put him away. I personally think that Chandler's going to come out and try to wrestle hard, and he might have some success early, but Dustin's going to keep chipping at him, work his way up, and I think he'll end up knocking him out.
Thank you.
Gary, I know you weren't extremely happy with the result in March. I'm curious if you've been able to move past that or if it still burns you a little bit.
Ты не так был рад результатам в марте. Я хочу знать, говорит, ты уже забыл об этом или все еще больно?
Ну, после боя, прям после боя был не рад, да, как его, испытывал эмоционально такое чуть напряжение, было пару дней. Но сейчас уже это в прошлом, то, что было, уже прошло. Я нацелен, сейчас у меня есть соперник, и я нацелен на победу.
Right after the fight, I was extremely disappointed, and it took me a couple of days, maybe even weeks to get over it. But right now, it's already in the past. I forgot about it, and I'm focused on who I'm going to face on Saturday and on my new opponent. That is in the past now.
Nice. We were supposed to see you this summer in June. I guess, can you explain what happened there that you weren't able to compete?
Ты должен был летом выступить, и потом незадолго до боя снялся. Можешь нам объяснить, что случилось тогда?
Да, я должен был драться с Умаром тогда в одном карде. За 12 дней до боя на заключительных спаррингах я получил травму, это перелом ребра. И посоветовавшись с тренерским штабом, с врачом, мы решили сняться, так как я не мог уже дальше там тренироваться или что-то делать.
Yeah, I was supposed to fight on the same card with Umar, but 12 days before the fight, on my final sparring match, I broke my rib, and we spoke with the coaches, we spoke to the doctor, and we made a decision that it would be smart to pull out and watch my health.
Yeah, good call. Now you're back. I guess Nate, a new name to the division. What do you think about him as an opponent?
Ну, я рад, говорит, что ты выздоровел и сейчас вернулся. Нейт – это новый человек в этом дивизионе. Что ты вообще думаешь по поводу него?
Ну, хороший, сильный соперник, боец, вот, с хорошей ударной техникой. Но мы, наша команда, уже знаем, как с ним биться, так как мой одноклубник Умар все показал уже на деле. И 5 ноября я постараюсь в той же манере обыграть его.
Nate is a very tough opponent. He's very strong, but we already have a blueprint on how to beat him. My teammate Umar, we have a tape on him, how to do it exactly. We had a game plan. I'm just going to do what my teammate did and get my hand raised.
Yeah, great strategy. Do you expect anything different from him being in a new weight class? I mean, whether it be good or bad, like how do you factor that into your preparation for it?
Ты как думаешь, вот у него, он в новом дивизионе в первый раз, ты думаешь, это такой же боец, который был на дивизион выше, или сейчас он поменяет свой стиль, или какой-нибудь другой подход у него будет в этом дивизионе? Что ты вообще от него ожидаешь?
Ну, если он первый раз спускается в нашу весовую категорию, не знаю, как он после сгонки восстановится. Вот. Ну, не знаю, наверное, будет той же манерой работать, ничего, наверное, не будет менять. От того, что он спустился вниз, я не думаю, что в технических лестницах он что-то поменяет. Единственное, вот восстановление может сказаться, и все.
If this is the first time he's making flyweight, and I'm not sure if he is, this is a different division. First of all, his first fight is going to be weight cut. If he gets through that fight and recovers well, well, good for him. And then the second fight is going to be me standing across the octagon, looking him right in the face, in his eyes. And so he has to face that fight first, hopefully make weight, recover. And but as far as the technical, if he's going to change his style or not, no. He's the same fighter. Weight cut doesn't change the fact how you fight. He's going to be the same. It's just I think it's going to be a little harder for him to make weight.
Last thing for me.
Мне вообще без разницы, ну, что он будет делать, как он будет делать. Мое дело выйти в клетку и 5 ноября забрать победу в копилку нашей команды.
I really don't care how is he going to fight, what's his game plan. I don't think about that. My goal is to go out there and get another win for our team, and that's what I'm going to do.
Last thing for me, big win here. I mean, are you looking up the rankings? Are you expecting them to put you against another ranked opponent next?
Can you repeat that again?
Yeah, I mean, with a victory here, because he's fighting a non-ranked opponent, does he expect them to get a ranked opponent next?
Ты же в рейтингах, ты номер 15 или 14, но он не в рейтингах. Ты как думаешь, если ты его выиграешь, ты поднимешься в строчках?
Ну, быть может, да, поднимусь в строчках, потому что хоть он и не в рейтингах, это крепкий боец. Вот. Я думаю, победа над ним мне принесет немного up.
I'm sure we can all agree that if he was to fight any of the people in top 15, he'll get a couple wins there. It's not like he's not ranked and he's a nobody. He's a really, really good fighter, and he's worth to be in the rankings. And hopefully he will be one day. But yeah, after I beat him, I'm pretty sure I'm going to go up a couple of numbers up.
Hey, Tagir, is there a reason that you don't have a nickname?
Почему у тебя нету там клички?
Не знаю, так получилось, да. Без никнейма деремся.
I don't know. Nobody ever gave it to me, and I fight without a nickname. Is that a problem?
Not for me. Awesome. Thank you.
Спасибо.
So it's Wednesday of fight week, and your opponent is not here yet. I'm just curious if this is kind of a nervous week for you with everything going on.
Sua oponente ainda não chegou, né? Como você se sente? É um pouco estranho para você?
Na verdade, não. O importante é que eu estou aqui, estou me preparando e finalizando aí essa semana de luta para chegar muito bem no sábado.
Not really. The most important thing, I'm here, I'm ready, I'm finishing my training camp to be ready to fight Saturday.
Obviously, this fight got moved, and it got moved to a main event as well. I'm just curious how much that impacted your preparation, changing the date and going to 5 rounds.
Essa luta mudou de data, mudou de local, mudou também para main event. Qual o impacto dessas mudanças no seu treino, sua preparação para a luta?
Bom, todas essas mudanças vieram como um ponto positivo. Consegui mais uma semana de treino, vou lutar no Apex, um evento mais tranquilo, sem muito show. E fazer o main event me deixa bem confortável, gosto de fazer 5 rounds, consigo colocar minha estratégia aí em jogo mais bem elaborada aí para dar certo.
All those changes are good for me, and I got 1 week more to do my training camp. I like fighting here at the Apex. It's more easygoing. It's not craziness like a pay-per-view card. And I feel very comfortable fighting 5 rounds, so I'm good to go.
Nice. Talk about Amanda as an opponent, kind of what you see in her, what challenges she may present.
Fala sobre a Amanda Lemos como oponente, por favor, que tipo de desafios ela apresenta?
É uma atleta muito dura, vem de vitórias bem expressivas aí dentro do UFC. Acredito que vai ser uma luta bem dura, 2 trocadoras agressivas, e tenho certeza aí que tem tudo para ser a melhor luta da noite.
I know she's very tough. She has really good victories. She got good victories in the UFC, but we are both aggressive strikers. So I'm 100% confident that our fight has everything to be the fight of the night.
And 1 week before a title fight in your division as well, I guess, is that kind of like perfect timing for you, and to believe that this is a #1 contender fight for the fight next week?
Essa luta é exatamente uma semana antes da luta pelo cinturão. Você acredita que é o tempo perfeito para colocar vocês com essa luta como a vencedora vai disputar o cinturão?
Com certeza, eu vencendo a Amanda Lemos no sábado, independente de como for essa vitória, tenho certeza aí que eu vou ser a próxima desafiante ao cinturão, e tudo dando certo, eu vou estar lá para ver.
Yes, I'm very confident that if I defeat Amanda, no matter how, I'm going to be the next challenger. And if everything goes perfectly, I'm going to be there to see this fight.
I love it. Last thing for me, you pick up a win here. Who wins next week, and who are you facing for the title?
So, a última pergunta é quem vence na semana que vem e consequentemente, quem você enfrenta pelo cinturão?
Tudo indica que a Weili vença, é uma atleta mais completa, mas o MMA é sempre uma surpresa, como Carla venceu a Rose na última luta. Tem tudo para ser aí uma luta bem disputada. Para mim, não importa quem vencer, eu só quero a minha chance.
Well, looks like Weili, she's well-rounded as a fighter, but it's MMA. There's a surprise effect every single fight, like when Carla defeated Rose. But for me, to be honest, it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be ready.
Were you surprised that they gave you Amanda instead of like a Rose Namajunas for an opponent?
Você ficou surpresa que eles te ofereceram a Amanda Lemos como oponente e não a Rose?
A Rose ali, acredito que não estava disponível para fazer uma luta tão recente. Então, o UFC me encaminhou a Lemos. É uma luta que não faz muito sentido em questão de ranking, mas como funcionário do UFC a gente aceitou, porque a gente sabe que a gente precisa passar por qualquer obstáculo para poder me tornar campeã.
Sorry. Yeah, to be honest, this fight doesn't make a lot of sense when you look to the rankings, UFC rankings. But as a UFC employee, I know that I gotta accept other fights to be able to fight for the title. Yeah, and I guess Rose was not able to fight short notice like that.
it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, guys.
What's up?
Chase, obviously you got the big win back in July. I'm just curious how, kind of important it was to just get back in the win column and kind of, build the confidence again.
It was huge, man. Obviously for my career, for the mental framework, for everything. The win was big, man. It was clutch. So, like we had spoke before and said, all we needed is just a little spark, and then we're gonna light this thing up and keep the ball rolling.
Have you felt the difference, like in training since? I mean, has it really changed things, your mindset, your feel?
No, I try not to let the outcome of a fight dictate, those aspects of my life, because I don't want to get back into the habit of letting outcomes control every other variable that I have going on. And so, like, the win was great, but we still train the same way, and wake up looking forward to practice, and waking up and looking forward to just everyday life, and got all those pieces in place that I need to have in place in order to perform the way that I want to perform, and enjoy the process along the way.
Absolutely. And 4 fights this year. I mean, a busy year. So how's that scheduling been for you? Is that the way you hope to keep it moving forward, or has it been a little much?
I normally shoot for 4 fights a year just because my bank account requires it with my spending habits. So, I usually need 4 fights, but I'm looking forward to getting this fight over with, and then and going home or going back to Mississippi and spending some time with my kids and my family, riding my motorcycle, doing a little hunting, getting some good home cooked Southern food, and relaxing, put my feet up, and letting the body recover. Get back on. I was going to spend all November back home in Mississippi, and then I'll go back to Florida in December and get back on it and get ready for the new year to roll around. So.
Nice. First up, of course, Josh Parisian. I guess, what are your thoughts on him as opponent, and what do you think of the matchup?
I think it's great, man. I'm excited. I really am. I'm excited about this fight. I was telling Dom today in our interview, when I go and look at film on fighters, usually I try to take 2 key kind of elements and break it down what can we take away from this person? Is it their body that's going to break first, or is it going to be their will? And I think when we look at Josh Parisian and his fights, the cat, he didn't really. I don't think he particularly got to the UFC on a certain skill set as far as that goes. I think he got to the UFC because he's got a lot of heart and he's very durable. And so when looking at that, looking at the fight footage, I know that his will is gonna surpass what his body is capable of enduring. So I'm gonna go out there and systematically take my time and pick this guy apart and inflict as much damage as possible to where he has no choice but to crumble. You know what I mean? And it doesn't really matter what your will is. The body can only take so much. And so that's kind of what we're looking at here. Not to really go out there and look for the finish, but when it presents itself, it'll be there.
He seems to think fight of the night potential between you two. He was kind of a fan of your style, and he thinks the two of you together, fight of the night potential. Do you think, is that the way you're looking at it as well? It sounds like you think it might be a performance of the night.
Maybe both, Hey. Hopefully it could be both, you know what I mean? I ain't got nothing but respect for the guy. I think it's going to be a fun fight. I really do. I think I'm going to get to show off a lot of different of my a lot of my skill set is what I plan to do, and some things that people haven't seen before, and I'm looking forward to it.
Last thing for me, another win here, you kind of get things going in the right direction. So you're going to take a month off, and then I guess what's the plan for next year? Build on this momentum and another 4 fights next year?
Man, I haven't really thought that far ahead. I'm just looking at the task at hand, and once we get done with this, then we'll kind of see where everything is going, and and we'll take it from there. But like I've said before, just staying in the present moment and being right where my feet are. I'm not really concerned about how many fights am I gonna get to have next year? I'm fucking concerned about this fight Saturday, and then we can worry about all the other things that come after.
Hey Chase, you said bank account needed 4 fights this year, but you got $50K in your last fight. Did you do anything fun with that?
I bought another Harley Davidson. I bought these Gucci's. Nah, I put some money away. I put some money away. I saw Sean Shelby at a pool party the following day, and he was like, "Look, man, save your fucking money. Save your money." I'm like, "Sean, you're like literally here with like 3 females in a booth by yourself and just got bottle service, and you're telling me to save my money? Okay."
Thank you.
All right, y'all have a good one.